Hello. It's been a while again. I know, it's kind of how I start all these videos. But I've been waiting for a lot of parts, some of which took 2 months to get here. And also just slacking and just saving and saving and saving and not spending. So I finally spent a little bit of money for the cars. So now I can make more content. So part of what took so long was this X Brace. So this X Brace goes under the car and reinforces the subframe. This came all the way from Russia. This was ordered 2 months ago, so it was well before all the issues that are happening now. But yeah, it took a while to travel along the water to get here. Another thing I've been waiting for a while for is the replacement coilover shocks, or the replacement shocks for my BC coilovers for the wagon. I ordered those probably about a month ago, maybe a little more, and the rears were on back order from where BC gets them, probably China or Taiwan. Regardless, it took a while for those to get to me. They should be here in the next couple of days, so that's going to also give me some more content. I can rebuild those and take you guys through that process, which isn't super exciting, but it's something for me to film. Another couple things I got. This is from BSI, Black Sheep Industries. They are also Canadian, which is nice. So this actually came in really fast. It took like a couple days to get to me. I figured it's not enough for one video to cover this thing because it's pretty straightforward. If you know what a turbo blanket is, then this is it, but it's from a Canadian retailer, which is kind of cool. Another thing you'll notice, my downpipe is missing. It's because it's here. And the reason it's here is because I'm going to get two things TIG welded. Moving on over here, 3D printed a bracket to hold the oil catch can into place. And I know in my previous video, I was saying how I was going to pull vacuum from the turbine housing or just before the turbine housing. It's not the case anymore. I've done some more research and apparently that's not really recommended for cars with a MAP sensor, which is what mine has now. Originally it would have been MAF, mass airflow sensor, which that would be acceptable for, but it's not recommended for cars with MAP. I don't know why. I didn't really dig much further into it. I had the plan to do what I'm doing now down the road, but I figured why do something halfway when I know I'm going to change it? Might as well just do it the right way. So what's going to be changing on the downpipe, I'm going to be putting my O2 sensor in the downpipe because right now my O2 sensor is located just before the catalytic converter. And the reason I put the O2 sensor just before the cat on this exhaust is because the rear section of this exhaust, or most of it, was built when I was running a supercharger setup on this car. So now that that's changed, I'm going to be moving the O2 sensor closer to the turbo to get a better reading of AFRs. So as far as I know, it's recommended to be within 8 to 12 inches of the hot side of the turbo, and the mark that I put on my downpipe to have the new bung added is at about 12 inches. Another thing I'll be adding is this here. So this is an exhaust Venturi. So what this is going to do, it's going to go in the downpipe. So imagine there's a downpipe right here going down here. It's going to sit somewhere in this area, which is pretty close to here. So this is going to be the new vacuum source for the turbo. And I've got 2 marks here on my downpipe. The blue dots. So I've got one here for the O2 sensor and one here for the Venturi. So that's going to go something like this, and it's got a -10 on it. So what it's designed to do with this little flute that's here is as exhaust passes it, and the faster that it passes it, it causes suction into the fitting. So I guess the vacuum won't be consistent, but it'll be more vacuum when more vacuum is needed because there'll be more flow in the exhaust at higher RPMs. So the reason I'm putting it after the O2 is because I don't, just in case it does pull in any sediment or any vapors that are supposed to be caught in the catch can, I don't want it to prematurely foul the O2 sensor or also throw off the readings. So that's that. Not much has changed, well, that's a lie. I don't know if I showcased any of the wiring changes in the last video, but I have the fan relay tucked in here. I also repositioned the, well, this isn't that different from where it was, but I have my boost solenoid here, and I also changed the lines. The lines I was running before were too big, so even with clamps, they would still slip. So now I have ones that fit rather tight and shouldn't pop off under boost, which I never had an issue with, but if I run more boost, it might become a problem. So in the car, a couple things have changed. So I rebuilt the original switches here. So these used to be, I forget what the switch style is called, but you click it once, it resets. I think it's called a momentary switch. Anyways, so this would report to another module that would then tell what to activate. So one's the rear defrost, one is the AC, and one's the recirculation. The rear defrost technically still works in this car, but I don't really need it because I don't drive in the winter. And the other two, well, AC has been gone in this car for a long time, and the recirc is not going to be needed anymore either because of the new heating system that I've made. So what I've decided to do is reuse this housing, but I put latching switches in it, so you can see when I click it, it stays pressed. And what I've done is I've wired it to the ECU, which is also now hard mounted inside the glove box, right up there, nice and firm. And so what I'm going to be doing is setting those new buttons up to command things through the ECU. So right now I have the first one for table switching. So what I can do is on the fly, I can change the ignition timing, the ignition table, and the fuel table. So if I wanted to have like an eco mode, I could press this in and have it set so that it's more fuel efficient. Or if I ran out of water methanol, then I can have like a safer map. Anyway, so that's just one thing. And the other two are kind of open right now. I don't really know what I want to set them to. I think one of them I might set for like rolling anti-lag or something, and then I don't know what else for the rest of them. Another thing I did, which I don't know if you guys will be able to see, still a little bit of a mess back here, but this is the underside of the glove box. Sorry, glove box, boom. So I have a bus bar or breakout bar, whatever you want to call it, distribution bar. It's just, I have a positive feeding into one lug, and then it gives me like 6 more lugs that I can pull power off of. So it's a little bit neater, a little bit cleaner, rather than having them all bolted together. So now that I've caught you guys up on everything that has happened since the last video, I am going to start installing the X Brace, hopefully. So we'll see if I have everything I need, and let's get going. So I'll meet you down there. So down here is filthy. I recall cleaning this when I did the oil pan, but so it's pretty wet. There's got to be an oil leak somewhere. Maybe leaking from the new gasket from when I put the pan on. Could be leaking from here, which I thought I replaced, but I'll investigate that more when I do my oil change. What's going to happen today is, so the X Brace mounts to here and here, and it sort of reinforces the, I guess, 2 subframes that are here. So if you got the one subframe for the motor, and then there's like a secondary subframe that's holding the sway bar brackets, the rearward control arms, and a brace for the transmission as well. So the new X Brace is going to link these together and it's supposed to add some rigidity. So I'm hoping this is a good angle for you guys, but let's grab this light. So the plan, there's 3 bolts that hold in the front subframe. I just need to undo the back 2. So the front 4 should still hold it in place, but I do have an axle stand here just in case. And then as for the back ones, I have, those are already being held in place by the axle stands that are holding up the car. So, there it is there. So, I need to take out this one, and the same ones on the other side. So I'm going to zip those out, try my best to hold, maybe I'll end up using this to hold the the brace in place, and then go from there. Wow, that is oddly rusty in there for some reason. I wonder if that's normal, but it came out pretty well. So on to the next ones. I think I just remembered where all this oil came from. I'm pretty sure it's power steering fluid from when I had a pretty decent leak that I was battling for a while. It turned out to be just old used crush washers. So hopefully once I clean this, it won't come back as bad. Notice here is the forward bolts, the ones that go into the subframe that's holding the motor. They're really tired. I don't know if it picks up very well on camera, but this one here is thinning out in this area, and the other one is pretty badly pitted lower down. So honestly surprised the one that's thinning out didn't snap, but I guess it's because the threads aren't too bad. That being said, though, I did clean up the threads on both of them, and I'm going to be putting ATCs before I put these back in, but it's only going to be temporary while I order new bolts. So what I'm going for here, just wrapped a rag around there, zip tied it so I don't prematurely scratch this, even though it's probably going to get pretty banged up under the car. And so now that's kind of loosely holding this in place so I can feed a bolt. So as you can see here, the rearward area, mounting area, is like this like cupped thing here. I don't really know what to call it, this little flange area. And then the other one is flat. So just for your reference, I'll feed the bolt in there. Just get in a couple threads here. There. So that's holding in place for now. And now I can do the front. Now I'm going to move on to the other side and finish this up. These came in handy. When I was putting the bolts back in, I felt that they were kind of crunchy and rough. So what I did to help clean it out, I hit it with some air first to blow out any debris that's in there. Then I sprayed this little bristle brush thing, which I think is nylon bristles, so it's not very harmful. But anyway, so I sprayed this with PB Blaster, not sponsored, I wish I was, anyways. And then I just jammed this in and out of the hole a couple times to help further clean it, and everything went in a lot smoother. So here it is installed. And I'm going to pull off the rag here. There we go. So there it is, and fitment was great. The holes aligned all perfectly without issue, which is something I was a little worried about. So that's it for now, but I feel like that's going to be a really short video. So tomorrow I'm getting the bungs welded into the downpipe, so I will get that done, and then once I'm back in the garage and ready to install everything, I'm going to film that as well to make it a more complete video. That's it for installing the brace for now. I don't think I mentioned the name of it, and I don't really know if I'm going to be saying this correctly, but I believe it's Rasporki. So it's a company out of Russia. I know ordering right now might be a bit of an issue. As I said, I ordered this 2 months ago. It took 2 months to get to Canada. I would assume it's about the same timeline to get to the US as well, under normal circumstances. So, but honestly, it was worth the wait. And it's relatively cheap too. I think it was $65 US plus like a little bit of shipping. Really not that bad. I think it was under $200 to get it to me. So, so yeah, that's the Rasporki brace, fits beautifully. It is going to be a little lower than the rest of the stuff under the car, which I'm a little worried about, but it's a pretty stout piece, so it should be able to take some abuse. Also, another thing, I haven't really been asking for people to like, comment, and subscribe, so I'm going to start doing that now and see if it actually makes any difference. It'd be nice to start crawling out of, or crawling up the YouTube algorithm, however, whatever's best to explain that. YouTube algorithm sucks, and I'm still hovering at like 140 subs. Thank you to all of you so far. But my goal by the end of summer is to hopefully hit 1,000. That would be huge, and I'm told, anyways, that the more people like, comment, and subscribe, interact with the videos, the more my videos will get shown to other people. So, yeah, help me out with that. That'd be greatly appreciated. Day 2, got the welding done on the downpipe. I'll show you right here. So we've got the new O2 bung and the 45-degree venturi for vacuum source for here. So next, down here, on the other side, is the O2 sensor. So I gotta move that. So there it is, the old location for the O2 sensor. And I've got my 22 mil here, and this shouldn't be super tight because I just replaced it last season. That was probably very loud. There we go. So it's out. Now I'm just going to grab the bolt that will go in here to fill that. So this is the plug, and I put some red Loctite on it because I have had these rattle out on me before. I think partially to do with the expansion and contraction with the heat of the exhaust and then cooling off and all that. So I want to make sure this one stays in there because I don't think I'll ever need this port ever again. But if I ever do, I can get it out. I might also throw a tack on it next time I have this on a lift, just to really make sure it stays in there. Now moving over to here, I need to undo the oxygen sensor cable all the way down, and then pull it up and around, and yeah, so I'll start by getting this off, then we'll move back up to the top of the car. So got the harness over, all right, the harness here for the O2 sensor to the gauge, and I've got the O2 sensor itself right here. Fire that in the bung here. So that's going to be where the O2 sensor lives. Now I'm going to be feeding the harness that leads to the gauge in through this grommet, in behind with all the rest of this wiring, and straight back to the gauge. So as you can see, I have quite a bit of extra lead off of the oxygen sensor. So even if I was to put the harness here, I still have quite a bit. So I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do with that. I'm either gonna coil it up and tuck it in under here, or maybe somewhere in here. Maybe I won't even run the harness here. So here we are in the car, going to be grabbing the harness and reconnecting it to the gauge, which is right here. So that's it for the O2 sensor install for now. Now I really need to get the AN fittings because I want to finish doing the catch can, so I need to finish getting the fittings and the hose so that I can make the lines from here to the Venturi, and then I'm going to be pulling my valve cover off so I can put 2 bulkhead fittings into the head, or not into the head, into the valve cover. So yeah, I have a list of pieces that I need. One last thing before I close off, down here, I did replace the subframe bolts, and what was weird is that the 2 forward ones, so again there's 3, 1 back there, 2 forward ones, the 2 forward ones were actually in really good condition. So here's an example here. As you can see, it's in great shape, not rusty at all. So it's weird that just the back 2 were rusty, but it is what it is. So now that's settled. Another thing I want to do as well is I'm going to drain the oil on the car, and I'm going to be modifying my oil drain because it's a 90, and I'm going to change it for a 45 because I have a feeling oil might be backing up into the turbo, causing issues. And I might also test that. So what I'm thinking about doing is just getting a clear hose that's the right diameter to slip over the AN fittings that I have now, just temporarily, so I can actually see if it's backing up. When I got the oil pan welded, got the return bung welded onto it, unfortunately the person who did the welding for me, I wasn't around when they did it, and I think they welded it too low into the pan, so I have a feeling what's happening is it's just allowing the oil to back up. I wasn't worried at first because top mounts don't really have as much of an issue with that as bottom mounts do, but I think it's happening. So I want to know for sure before I either pull this pan to have a bung re-welded in a different location higher up, or if I get one of my other pans welded. Because pulling the pan on the car kind of sucks. Have to jack up the motor pretty high to clear the subframe, and yeah, it's just a pain, and I would rather not do it a second time. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Definitely still a lot to come up, and lots to do. So I still need to make a panel to go here to close that up. I still need to get the rest of the fittings for the catch can as well as the heater, so I can finish the heater install. If I gotta finish putting the interior back together, there's quite a bit to be done.